Y'all know what's crazy to me? Having this so-called No Kings rally when you kicked Joe Biden off, or ran him off, and then you ordained Kamala Harris without a single primary or a vote. You kicked Bobby Kennedy off. You sued to have him kicked off the dadgum ballot. And then y'all went to court, a bunch of places, tried to kick Trump off. Y'all the ones with the royalty issues, it sounds like to me. There's no kings on this side of the ocean, but the only monarchy seems to be in the Democrat Party. Just a casual observation. Thank y'all for sending me here.
Excuse me. Shout out to Tim Burchett. I personally think Tim Burchett should be the Speaker of the House. That's just my humble opinion. Y'all can let me know how you feel about it in the comments. Now, I want to talk about this video clip that I came across, and I think you guys are really going to love it. This video clip, I mean, completely wraps up the nonsense and the BS of this No King stuff. I mean, just the entire left in general, just wraps up all of the nonsense. Just like, oh man, do y'all see these protests and you're just like, what in the is going on? You know, you just see him and you just like palm face emoji, like really. You know, but anyway, make sure you guys hit that like button. If you're not subscribed already, hit that subscribe button as well. Also, make sure you guys check out my second channel. The link is down below in the description box. It is called Extra Rich. Hope to see you guys over there. And with that being said, let's dive in.
A lot of people kept asking me if I went to the No Kings protest last weekend. And I just politely said no, without elaborating. But here's what I really think about those rallies. The whole premise is backwards. Journalist and CNN contributor Batya Ungar-Sargon said it best, and I'll play her clip in a minute. They're saying they're protesting kings, but they're the ones trying to overturn the will of the voters. Think about that. It kept happening over and over. Security guard of our building, one neighbor, walking a dog. And I was just like, why would people want to go to that? The protesters call Trump authoritarian, but he's the one implementing the policies he was elected on. That's not tyranny. That's representative government. I get that you might not like what his agenda is, but it is literally what he ran on. And he won the popular vote. I think to try and remove that leader, that's the anti-democratic move. And I just support the president. I'm not saying I'm anti-protest ever, but it was very group-thinky. I didn't like the energy out there. So many people kept asking me, hey, did you go to the rally earlier? No. I realized that here in New York City, my opinion is unpopular. It was the cool thing to do here in my neighborhood, Chelsea. But I guess I'm a dork. They've convinced themselves they're standing up to power, when in reality, they're trying to undo a democratic process they just don't like the outcome of. Even if he's not for every policy that I would be for domestically, he's for sure every policy that I'm for foreign policy-wise. And I just feel that he's making the world safer.
I mean, he made a fantastic point there. While they are protesting no kings and no authoritarian, no rule, no dictator rule, they're the ones trying to implement dictator rule because we all showed up and we voted. We voted. And Donald J. Trump is who we all collectively chose. Yeah, sure, you can not like him or whatever, but to sit here and say that he's a dictator is crazy. It's crazy. He was elected. He didn't just waltz on into the White House and say, you know what, this is my house. Like, no, he was elected. We put him there. So it's ironic because like the very thing that they claim to be protesting against, they're actually almost implementing or attempting to implement, right? They're trying to implement a dictatorship by overthrowing the person that we elected and throwing in whomever they want, right? To run the show, which is just crazy to me. And also when you find out who's funding this stuff behind the scenes, which CCP, right? Some stuff coming out of China. It makes sense, right? It makes a whole lot of sense. But anyway.
With what he's doing in the Middle East and domestically. I don't support mobs of left-wing people trying to say that Western civilization is bad and that our way of life is bad. I think our way of life is good. It's always shocking to me that I really align now with the conservative viewpoint, but it's like, I do. The transition is complete. So when people ask me, why didn't you go? I just skip the debate, because how do you explain that demanding the removal of an elected leader isn't the defense of democracy? It's the opposite. I don't want to get into it with them. I just kept it to myself. So no, I did.
If you tried to explain that to them, they would lose their minds. They would lose their minds. They cannot compute that. All they know is hate Trump, hate Trump, hate Trump. That's all that runs through their mind. Literally all that runs through their mind. And so everything else that you try to explain to them is just going to go in one ear and out the other. I love that he brought that up, because that is a fantastic point. Fantastic point.
Because how do you explain that demanding the removal of an elected leader isn't the defense of democracy? It's the opposite. I don't want to get into it with them. I just kept it to myself. So no, I didn't go, because protesting a president for keeping his promises isn't saving democracy. It's mocking it. But I also got to say, conservatives watching my feed, thank you for being here. Obviously this video is for you, but I have blue hair. Get over it. Stop stereotyping people.
Well, I want to start by saying I totally support the protests. I think that this is, a very important part of what it means to be an American, is to raise up your voice in any form that you wish. We have these First Amendment rights, and they are precious and dear. I also think that this was not indicative or representative even of the mainstream Democratic Party. These protests were overwhelmingly white. They were overwhelmingly elderly people, older people. Now, again, white boomers have the right to have a mass therapy session about the fact that Donald Trump won. But to call it a no kings protest, to act like he is a king, is so utterly preposterous. This is a man who won the popular vote. He won every swing state. He is a person who is enacting the exact agenda he promised he was going to enact while he was campaigning. And so what they're actually protesting is the absolute perfection of American democracy, where a person campaigned on an agenda, won the popular vote, and is now enacting that agenda. So it was actually a protest of democracy, all of which is to say the only way to greet such a preposterous proposition, calling this a no kings rally when it's actually an anti-democracy rally, is to crap on it. I'm sorry, is to basically make fun of it. And I think that has been the Trump administration's approach. They didn't try to stop it, God forbid, because he's not a king. They allowed them to have their say. They allowed them to go out there, and then they made fun of it.
Yeah, I agree with that 1,000%. 1,000%. They're not saving democracy. They're attempting to tear it down. And once again, when you realize where some of this funding is coming from, it makes a whole lot of sense why they would want to be attempting to tear it down.
All across the U.S., thousands of No Kings protests in all 50 states. Fox News Digital took a closer look at how these protests are being funded and organized. Turns out the marches are being coordinated by a network of around 500 groups with an estimated $3 billion in annual revenue. They include some communist groups funded by Neville Roy Singham. He's an American tech tycoon and an avowed communist who lives in China.
The guy lives in China. Make sense now? Makes sense now why you would want to be trying to tear down America from the inside, destroy democracy. Yeah, exactly. The very thing that they claim to be fighting for, they're actually in reality fighting against. The brain rot going on in this country. This has to be studied. There has to be a major study on this. And hopefully, you know, in 30 years, 40 years, there's going to be a book, a documentary, maybe, hopefully sooner, right? In 20 years, there's a documentary made about this time. And we can all look back and see what the fuck happened. You know, because one thing that I also wonder, and I'm going to let you guys get out of here, is how are they contacting these folks? Like, is it online ads? Is it phone calls? Are they cold calling? Are they sending flyers to people's addresses? How are they getting in contact with these folks? Part of me wants to, it would never work. So I guess, I can say it out loud because it'll never work. Part of me wants to, you know, try to hop on this train of dissing MAGA and dissing Trump and trying to infiltrate the Democrat Party. And so I can see the inner workings, you know, what is going on over there? Where's the funding coming from? How are they contacting people? You know, get on the inside, get an inside look, but that would require me getting on camera, denouncing the Republican Party, doing the whole nine. People would get angry at me. They wouldn't understand that I was just trying to infiltrate the Democrat Party. It would never work. So I guess I can say it out loud now. But yeah, I just want to know, how are they doing it? If anybody knows, comment below. Stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.